Hello my boys, today we're going to be doing a Call of War tier list, as you can see here. So, I've got Militia in highly situational, right, next unit, this unit. We're going to do the strategy I did with the Payday 2. Good, but pretty good. It's in one of these, I'm going to go pretty good with some major problems. Right, this unit. Mechanized infantry is good except for a few weaknesses. I mean, it's good for quick in-circle movements. It's good for if like your units are trapped and you need to get out of there really quickly. So it's really good for It's really good for capturing provinces before an enemy gets there. And they're all around a good unit, except for a few things, and that's their cost. Their cost is bloody expensive for literally what they're worth. Artillery. Best bloody unit in the game, in my opinion. Artillery is the best freaking unit in the game. Come on. How can you not like artillery? Artillery is just really good in general. Just don't bother with anti-tanks. They're fucking useless. Alright. So light tanks. No, this is... I'm just going to put this back here. This one. This one is pretty good with some major problems. Aaa Guns are actually extremely useful. If they're mostly using like aircraft to try and get rid of your units, place 3 Aaa Guns in your blooming army, and they'll do tons of damage to them. So in other words, it would make them literally useless. So they're quite good, but it requires the right situation. The one thing about them is how it takes them forever. Armoured cars. Good, except for a few weaknesses. It's extremely good early game, but it just takes forever to, it's just so useless late game. They're really good early game. When you get armour, you might as well use this unit. Right. Light tanks. Pretty good. I wouldn't rate them on the same level as bloody armoured cars. Armoured cars are good. Are way better than light tanks, because light tanks, you pretty much use them for like that little portion of the game. Between like when you're upgrading your medium tanks and when you've got your first upgrade on a medium tank and you're just waiting for all your buildings to upgrade so you can get to a better thing, you might use light tanks for a little. Well, they're pretty good, but they're not very good to use. Medium tanks. Best unit in the fucking game. Medium tanks are bloody crazy good. They're really good for for general combat. If like an enemy is swarming in on you on all sides, just use medium tanks and just hold down the area. They're really good in every single situation. Heavy tanks, just don't fucking bother. They're fucking useless. They're literally just a little better. They're literally just a little tad better medium tanks, and they cost more than medium tanks. And they bloody generally are useless at their jobs. Right, tank destroyers, actually highly situational. They're good, but it requires the right situation to use them. Looks like ain't that special Aaa Guns. Don't even bother with them. They take forever to make. Submarines are bloody good. Good except for a few weaknesses. I mean, they're quite good for taking out bloody someone who's just spamming you with bloody with ships over and over again. They're extremely good for that. Right, mechanised units, don't even bother, they're fucking useless. Fighters, no, these are a fucking useful units. They're good, but they're pretty hampered by their costs. I mean, they're only good in big bundles, and it takes a lot to get them into big bundles. But they are quite good. Attack bombers, favourite aircraft unit in the game. Boom, attack bombers. Best aircraft unit in the game. Right, special artillery, don't even fucking bother, they're useless. These bombers, I think they're called like tactical bombers. Pretty good. There was some major problems. Blooming tactical bombers are good but hampered by cost. Destroyers, don't even fucking bother. Ships that might be cruisers actually. Battleships are just really good if they're like blooming camping far away with tons of submarines. They're actually one of the best units in the game. In my opinion, they're just great. Aircraft carriers, don't even fucking bother, they're quite useless. I mean, you might not decide that. Railroad guns, they're quite good. Railroad guns, I'd say, good except for a few weaknesses. They're generally good if they're camping in a city with artillery, and they just keep blowing up your artillery over and over again with like aircraft and shit. You can just use a railroad gun and then place tons of AAs in it, and then pretty much the city will be eventually gone, and they'd have to rush out. Paratroop. These paratroopers are useless. And these paratroopers are good if you know what you're doing. So I'm going to pull them all the way up. Good but hampered by cost as they take forever to get up. Rockets. Rockets. Fucking useless. Rocket fighters, good, but they're situational. Good, but situational. Can't even tell what these three units are. So I'll just put them in garbage and tell what this unit is, though. Worst, probably one of the worst units in the game. Then nuclear bombers are actually 10 times better. And you just get them fully upgraded, and pretty much you get the same exact thing as a nuclear rocket. It's why I always fully upgrade nuclear rockets. Boom. Second best unit in the game. Now this is my tier list. So we got Aaa Guns, mechanised, special air destroyers, heavy tanks, special artillery, bloody basic paratroopers, rockets. I don't know what that is, don't know what that unit is, don't know what that unit is. Aircraft carrier and rockets. Yeah. Then we go up highly situational, militia, rocket fighters and tank destroyers. Pretty good with some major problems. There's light tanks, cruisers, tactical bombers, I think that is, artillery and infantry. That, I think that's like naval. I don't know what that unit is. So I know it's one of the planes. Yeah, but that takes forever to get up. I think, ain't that tactical bombers? Anyways, that paratroopers are good, but they're only good if like you need to get behind an enemy line to try and disperse their units. And interceptors are good in general for like plumbing fighting, but they're really expensive to make. Armoured cars are quite good. Railroad guns, decent. Submarines are quite decent for taking out enemy battleships. Railroad guns are quite decent for bombing cities and like continuously bombing cities. And armored cars are really good early game. Same with motorized infantry, really good for getting around enemy units. So we got here battleships, very good, just generally an overall good troop for taking out many units without taking damage. Then you got the bloody, what do you call it? Attack bombers. Yeah, they're just generally an all around good unit. Rocket artillery, that might actually be. Oh, artillery and rocket artillery are pretty much the same thing, and they're quite good. Nuclear bombers are great for blooming taking out like little camping units that are just camping in one spot. Bottle game, not allowing you to advance, and medium tanks are good for defence and are all around a good unit.